Hello, John, and welcome back. Today in this tutorial, we are going to be talking about the very own CSS. And don't worry about this code you are seeing on my screen. It doesn't matter. We are going to start from afresh. I'll just show you so you are going to be able to be like let me have a picture of what you are going to be learning and stuff. So, all right. So now, a lot of times you have been hearing you as a web developer or someone learning how to create websites and web design stuff, and you have been hearing people talking about, yeah, you need to learn HTML and you need to learn CSS, and you have been wondering why should you learn CSS and what the hell is this CSS? Well, in this story, I'm going to be telling you what is CSS and why you should learn it. That's the most important part of it. So CSS is an abbreviation for what we call cascading style sheet, and then the usefulness of it is for styling our HTML file. So you write a bunch of HTML code and they are very, very looking ugly. You saw a lot. Maybe you went up to some of your friends' websites and you see some design, some crazy look of the website. Let's say like the website is very, very looking pleasant. You just enjoy visiting the website. You see different colors displayed, different position, different styling, and you are like, wow, guy, how do you do this? And if you learn this CSS, and I'm going to take you through all the whole journey of you learning what are the things you need to learn to make your own website also look beautiful. Okay, let's go back to the very own end of my HTML. Let me see my HTML tutorial course from the beginning of the introduction where I talk about building a house as building a website, and I talk about the blocks were used in building the house as our HTML, because HTML is the building block of every website out there. So how can CSS chip in there? So take the CSS as the designs, the plasters, the paintings, the decorations of that particular house. After setting up those blocks, and the blocks are, let me say, written to the top, and no plasters, no paintings, no decoration, it still looks a little bit ugly, isn't it? So let's say now they now call the painter, the plaster man, and other decorators to make the house look beautiful. So that's exactly what CSS also does to our HTML code. We have a lot of H1 there, a lot of paragraph tags, a lot of divs, and they're all looking at us normally not looking good, and you'll be wondering, is this how a website should look? No, that's when the CSS comes in. You need to add some styling to it to make it look beautiful. All right, so and then another thing I need to let me say notify you is CSS actually have a briefly, let me say, two structure. It has briefly like two structure, and one of the first structure is this selector. When I talk about selector, you see in H1 now you have H1 inside your HTML code, and you definitely want to style that H1. That H1 you are styling is possibly the selector. It's what you are going to be selecting. And then another aspect of it is maybe now, what next do you do after putting H1? As you can see from my own screen here, I have H1 here, and I'm adding some style. So here, from here, this curly braces, and then some code, and then to the end of this curly braces is what we call code blocks. So we have two parts like this: the selector and the code blocks. And then the code blocks contain few things like the curly braces, which you can see here that encloses them, and then we have a property, the property of color, and then the value. So this is a property and this is a value. If here in the font size we also have a property, the font size is a property, and this is what is the value. Yeah, you don't need to worry much about let me say knowing this deeper, or if you don't understand them as I'm mentioning them, you don't need to have a trouble understanding them. When we start writing the real CSS code, you are going to get familiar with them, and you're going to be doing it as if it's just a daily bread. You understand the point? CSS is very, very easy. Forget about all the notes out there. So don't worry. In the next tutorial, I'm going to start from afresh, and you're going to see how you're going to style your own web pages with CSS. See you in the next one. Bye bye.